from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Wednesday and I can't believe it's already Wednesday. I am so excited and we have so much to talk about today. So many videos to make, and the first one we're going to do is related to Jill, Duggar Dillard, Derek Dillard, the Duggar family. And they did another Q&A. This is the fourth Q&A they've done. 1, 2, 3, 4. Jill is spilling all kinds of tea, unloading some of her secrets, and talking more about the show. So this fourth episode is all about the show. The stuff we're waiting for. Before we get started, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Also, make sure you subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so you know that I go live. Okay, so in this episode, she gets right down to it and talks about why she left the show.
Oh, 3 years ago now. Because basically our family goals that we had for ourselves didn't align with what we found out. That like we ended up finding out like we didn't have as much control over our lives as it related to like the show and stuff as we felt like we needed. So we had to make a decision at that time to kind of put the show aside just to like pursue our own goals and everything. So yeah, that's when we made that decision, and it was just like a good decision for us and nothing against our film crew or anything.
Interesting, right? So she says that she had found out some new information and that they needed to make some choices because they lacked control in their own lives and the show was not moving in the same direction and they didn't have the control that they wanted within their own lives. And then later in this video, he talked about how a missions trip had been taken away from them. So one of the things that Derek and I talked about when he sent those, when he responded to my questions, was about the contract that Jim Bob Duggar had. He said that they had found out that they had this contract that they knew nothing about. And after learning about this contract, they realized that they had to leave. Now, he's never provided the details of what that contract entailed, but one of the things that he talked about was that they didn't have their own discretion to post their the births of their children. They didn't get to make their own announcements about their engagement, their wedding. Their lives were very filtered through what the Duggars wanted and what the Duggars needed. And so if they had plans that did not fit within the County Non-show, they had to leave. So when she talks about how they had found out new information, part of me wonders, is it the contract that Derek was talking about? Was there a missions trip? He did say that he had made an interview and he had gotten this new job, and then he suddenly was not able to take the job because of the show. Then when we talk about what's happening with this family, obviously we want to know what's going on. We've noticed that there's been a distance with the family. So Jill goes on to answer how she and her family get along. And whether
So yes, there's been some distancing there. We're not on the best terms with some of my family. We've had some disagreements and stuff. But we're working toward healing, definitely, and restoration. But we're having to kind of just take some time and heal, and just doing what's best for our family right now. And yeah, just working through it, I guess. So it's difficult, but like we're praying and trusting God that like this, like the timeline is his and what that looks like and everything. So
she is talking about how some of the family members she's with, they're not on the best of terms. And that made me think about who in the family does she seem to have the most tense relationship with? Or who is it that isn't mentioned as much? Or who is it that Derek seemed to have his issues with? And it seems to come back and come down to Jim Bob Duggar and maybe some of her other siblings. Derek's been very vocal about their frustration with Jim Bob Duggar, his control, not paying them, not protecting his daughters. So I'm guessing part of it is with Jim Bob Duggar. I'm also assuming part of it is also related to Josh Duggar, given everything that she went through with her brother. And I would wonder what siblings would be involved in this as well. Is there issues with some of her siblings like John or Jessa or Ginger or Joy. Obviously, she does say that she had to go through therapy. She's going through therapy. And one of the things that she talks about in her previous video was about how she needed to establish boundaries, learn boundaries, and understand that not everything that she feels is going to make everyone else happy. And because of that, she has to be okay with other people not being okay with her decisions. So obviously, this rift in the family is requiring her to set some firm boundaries away from them so that she can heal, so she can establish her own sort of life, and she can do what she needs to move forward in a productive manner. And I'm guessing the impatience here is that she would like her family members to understand and meet her maybe in the middle, or find resolution to this conflict. Sadly, sometimes these conflicts never get resolved. And Jim Bob Duggar, I don't know if he will ever actually admit what he's done to the kids. So I'm glad that she's in therapy more than anything when it comes to this situation.
Do you see a change in yourself since therapy? Yes, I think good changes, like just helping us process things, work through things, just every aspect of life, day to day, whatever, just everything. It's so good and so healthy. And
then they talked about whether or not they plan to return.
Know whether or not we can even plan anything for our lives or not.
So yeah, probably not full time on the show. Right now we have no plans to join back into the show or anything.
So one of the most common questions is, are they going to come back to the show? And it sounds like no, they're not. And that's fine. You know, I think at this point, this show has kind of gone its course in terms of Jill and Derek. You would have thought that given the fact that they were on the namesake of the show and they had all of these things going around them, like say, you know, the show was in her name, she would have had more control about the direction of the show. You would have thought that as she grew up and as they grew up, the parents would allow their children to be uniquely who they are and not be in sole control of their lives. But you're talking about Jim Bob Duggar, who literally wants to have control of everything, in my opinion. So one of the things I do wonder is, you know, what she's going to do in the future. And she did talk a lot about how she's in therapy and how she continues to work through a lot of the stuff that she's gone through, the trauma that she's experienced, and just managing the pain that she's going through. It's the first time that you really see sort of the pain on her face, describing everything that she's gone through with her family. Obviously, when she's nervous, I've noticed that she tends to speak a little bit slower, add a little bit more likes and ums, because you can tell that she doesn't want to hurt the people that are in her lives, and she likely wants to say more, but is very aware of the magnitude of her platform, knowing that anything that she does say is going to become a story like this. And she has to be mindful of how she says those things. So Derek's been the one to be a little bit less filtered, a little bit more, I'm mad at this person, I'm upset about this person. But what I liked about this video was that Derek, for the most part, has been doing most of the talking for Jill. And this was her chance to speak and answer these questions. And he really gave her that space and the grace to answer the questions in the way that she could, and didn't interrupt her, didn't make her feel like she needed to rush, and really sort of just, you know, agreed and supported her. Now, you don't have to agree with everything that the Duggars and the Dillards believe. You don't have to agree with Derek and Jill about what they feel about the LGBTQ plus or anything else, but you should be able to empathize with a child that is stepping away from a toxic family, trying to find her place in the world, trying to learn the world in a whole new way, and also doing this on a public platform because her parents forced her into the spotlight as a child. It can't be an easy position to be in, and I give her a lot of credit for taking the first step to finding her voice. So tell me what your thoughts are. Who do you think she has the tense relationships with? And what do you think about this new information that they received? What was it about? And how will the Duggars or Jessa Blessa respond? Bye, guys.